the Sumy direction, the battlefield turned into a hunt. Ukrainian forces were not waiting passively for an attack. They set the trap. The prey was Russian armor. Tanks and armored personnel carriers rolled forward, trying to storm Ukrainian positions. What followed was a textbook example of modern precision warfare. From concealed positions, Ukrainian operators guided their FPV drones with steady hands. The machines buzzed low over the tree line, hunting for the smallest opening. And then they found it. Open hatches on advancing vehicles. One drone after another dived with surgical accuracy. The results were catastrophic for the enemy. A tank was struck first. The drone's warhead slipped through the hatch and detonated inside. Flames burst from the turret, ammunition cooked off, and the machine that was meant to protect its crew became their tomb. Moments later, armored personnel carriers met the same fate. Each FPV drone seemed to thread a needle, finding the vulnerable points where armor gave no protection. One strike was followed by another. The Russian assault, meant to break Ukrainian defenses, ended in twisted metal and fire. But beyond the destruction, what stands out is the discipline. No panic, no wasted effort. Ukrainian defenders acted with cold precision. Each move calculated, each strike deliberate. This was not chance. It was professionalism honed in battle. The Sumy episode is more than just another skirmish. It is proof of how the war has changed. Heavy armor once ruled the battlefield. Now small drones, guided by steady hands and clear minds, decide the outcome of battles. For the Ukrainian soldiers, this is not just technology. It is survival. It is defense. And it is the quiet confidence that, no matter how many armored columns the enemy throws forward, they will be met not with fear, but with fire and accuracy. In Zaporizhia, the Birds of Magyar unit revealed its mastery of modern warfare. From their headquarters, drone pilots streamed live as they guided FPV drones toward enemy targets. On the road ahead stood an abandoned Russian BMP-2, heavy armor left behind in retreat. The operators moved with calm precision. A dive, a strike, and in an instant, the vehicle erupted in fire. Ammunition inside detonated, turning the BMP into a fireball. This was not just destruction. It was a demonstration, proof of how Ukrainian soldiers have turned FPV drones into weapons of unmatched accuracy. Even from headquarters, their reach extends deep into the battlefield, and Russian equipment is left in ruins. Near Chasiv Yar in Donetsk Oblast, Russian forces massed for a major assault. Armored personnel carriers rolled forward, carrying troops into position. But Ukrainian intelligence was already watching. Artillery opened fire first. Shells rained down on the advancing columns, shattering formations and halting vehicles. Then came the drones, low, fast, and precise. Each strike found its mark, setting carriers ablaze and scattering soldiers across the battlefield. What makes this episode even more shocking is the makeup of the assault force. Reports indicate that nearly half of those deployed were women, sent into one of the most dangerous sectors of the front. Whether volunteers, conscripts, or coerced, they faced the same fate as every other soldier caught in the open. The combined fire of artillery and drones left the attack in ruins. Armored carriers were destroyed, and the remaining forces were forced into retreat, their assault broken before it could even begin. Chasiv Yar once again showed how Ukrainian firepower, guided by precision and timing, can dismantle even a large enemy force. On this battlefield, numbers alone are no guarantee of success. What matters is preparation, coordination, and the ability to strike first and strike hard. Direction, a Russian tank attempted a bold assault. Crammed on its armor were nearly 20 soldiers, riding straight into Ukrainian positions. But the gamble lasted only moments. A single, precise shot from an RPG slammed into the tank, instantly disabling it. The machine ground to a halt, smoke rising from its frame. Panic erupted. Soldiers leapt from the immobilized vehicle and scattered in every direction, abandoning the assault before it had even begun. What was meant to be a show of strength ended in humiliation. One accurate strike was enough to turn an entire attack into chaos. In Sumy, the Ukrainian defenders proved once again that precision beats numbers, and courage can stop even the most reckless assault. Near Terny, the Russians tried to overwhelm the front with sheer numbers. A powerful assault began. Dozens of armored vehicles and tanks surged forward, hoping to break Ukrainian defenses by force alone. The plan was simple: crush with numbers, seize the ground, and hold it. But the soldiers of the Azov unit were waiting. From the very first moments, they showed that this battle would not go as the enemy expected. Accurate shots rang out, striking vehicle after vehicle. Every maneuver was calculated. Every strike was delivered with cold precision. One Russian armored carrier burst into flames. A tank ground to a halt, immobilized by a direct hit. Then another. The column began to slow, the forward momentum collapsing under constant fire. What was meant to be a powerful breakthrough turned into a stalled, burning line of steel. Amid the destruction, Azov fighters pressed the advantage. They destroyed machine after machine, forcing Russian crews to abandon their vehicles and flee on foot. And in a moment of triumph, Ukrainian fighters captured one of the tanks intact, turning the enemy's weapon into a trophy. The battlefield became chaos. Smoke and fire filled the air. What had begun as an organized Russian assault ended in confusion and retreat. The soldiers who had advanced with confidence were now running, leaving behind shattered vehicles, lost equipment, and broken plans. The message from Terny was clear. Numbers alone cannot decide the outcome of this war. Skill, discipline, and determination will always prevail. And on this day, Azov showed who truly controls the battlefield.